Wake up early this Saturday morning and go on Facebook, and you start seeing all this stuff. They're saying don't touch the water, don't drink the water, don't shower. So we made a run to the store, no water. Went down to Bowling Green, stopped at Myers in Bowling Green. Water was just about gone. Bought a pack. So I literally drove as far as Fenby. And we just started buying packs of water because I was thinking about my parents. So when you think about it, and at the time, obviously I'm working inside of, a health system, not a clinician by any stretch of the imagination, but understanding the need for clean water, right, to provide the best type of care, whether that's in-home care, inside of a facility. You have people who are like, oh, that ain't real.
It's not a very pretty sight to see. The whole thing smells. The best thing I can tell you is if you remember Grandma's basement, that musty smell. Any of the tourism that we have going on in the western end of the lake, it's not just the fishing part, it's the boating part, going to the beach, going to Put Bay, going to Cedar Point, going anywhere around on Lake Erie.
And we have our knowledge of biochar from these ancient soils.
Research into the benefits of terra preta and biochar is one of the most exciting developments in science today. These benefits include enhancing soil fertility and virtually permanent carbon sequestration.
Terra preta is the remnant of previous occupations of Amerindian populations starting at about 7,000 years before present. These soils are very dark, black soils that are very organic matter rich, very fertile. Crops grow vigorously on them. So the exciting aspect of that is that in an environment that otherwise features very infertile soils under primary forest in the Amazon, there exist these very dark, very fertile soils that prevailed over hundreds to thousands of years up to present time. How biochar was created in the past to produce terra preta is of course largely unknown. One way how this could have happened is using technologies that we also know from charcoal making, piling up biomass and under the exclusion of oxygen, smoldering or thermally decomposing biomass into charcoal or biochar. This biochar can be added to soil now and create these favorable conditions that we see terra preta still has after hundreds to thousands of years.
Today we can create biochar using the process of pyrolysis.
During pyrolysis, biomass is heated above a certain point that it spontaneously decomposes into charcoal or biochar. And this biochar can be returned to soil, to the very soils where we obtained our biomass from, thereby creating environmental friendly bioenergy systems.
Biochar improves soil in many different ways. It retains nutrients for plants that would otherwise be lost by leaching or to the atmosphere. It enhances microbiological activity, retains water, and increases crop yields.
A very interesting aspect of pyrolysis with a biochar return to soil is that by producing the energy through pyrolysis, you retain about 50% of your carbon that you invested in producing the bioenergy in this very, very durable form of biochar. That means that half of your carbon cycle that you would normally return to the atmosphere, you can divert into a much slower cycling biochar cycle. Biochar remains in soil for very, very long periods of time and offers the opportunity to truly sequester carbon in soil.
Any type of organic material that's been through the process called pyrolysis, separating. So to make good biochar, all the elements need to be separated by fire at a certain temperature and without much oxygen. Biochar is simply decomposing materials at high temperatures. Everything turns into gas, except the carbon. After pyrolysis, there's no nitrogen, no magnesium, no sulfur, no nothing except carbon. A carbon skeleton of what it was before. I'm going to use that carbon and the structure that was created that left all these tiny crevices and turn them into multi-story microscopic apartment buildings and fill them with microorganisms, the effective ones, and put them in the garden. They'll hang out there while it rains or when I water, and they won't wash away and end up in the creek. They'll stay here in my garden and around the roots of my veggies. Biochar is also really good at retaining moisture. It sucks up the water like a sponge. You know, just 1 little gram of biochar has a surface area of about 260 square meters. That means that if you fold out all these little crevices into one plane, it would be the same area as a tennis court. So considering how small these microorganisms are, 1 gram of biochar can accommodate trillions of them.